Good evening and welcome to the Defiance City Council meeting for tonight, April 7th, 2026. We have Pastor Tyson Knopfsinger here this evening to open us up in prayer. Thank you for being our guest this evening.
Yeah, thank you. I'm honored to be here. Let's pray. God, we thank you for this evening. Thank you for the weather beginning to shift. Pray that that would continue. We lift up the community as we've faced some big storms in the last few weeks, and I just pray that you would be with all those who are affected, that you would continue to meet their needs, whether that's financial or emotional or otherwise. I thank you for just the way that the community came together during that, for the city officials and neighbors and everybody serving one another and coming together, and just pray that that would continue in the days ahead. We lift up the meeting tonight, and we ask that you would guide every discussion, that there would be just an abundance of wisdom and grace and the ability to listen and speak when necessary, and that you just bless every moment of this evening and continue to guide our city in amazing ways. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for being our guest, and thank you for your ministry here in Defiance.
Thank you so much. Yeah, God bless you guys.
Thank you. This meeting is now called to order. Let the record show that all the members of council are present this evening. Would you stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we get underway this evening, we have a public hearing regarding the creation of the Delaware Defiance Joint Economic Development District. Am I correct, Mr. O'Donnell?
That's correct, Mr. President. And so the Ohio General Assembly inserted that that kind of structure into the Ohio Revised Code in sections 715.70 through 715.82. And a Joint Economic Development District, or a JED, is actually a completely new governmental entity with a new structure, and is charged with improving the economic development, job creation of the designated area or district. So in this case, the city, Defiance Township, and Delaware Township proposed to create one of these JED, or Joint Economic Development Districts. And that's for the new First Quality Tissue Midwest LLC project that is in both Delaware and Defiance Townships outside of our municipal boundaries. And so these three parties, and then along with Defiance County, and we'll get to that part in a minute, and the company, they've identified certain public infrastructure improvements that need to take place in order to make this development happen. Chief among those being a very long sewer line. The county, Defiance County, comes into play here because they have successfully applied for a new program, the All Ohio Future Fund, which is, in general terms, half grant, half loan, half of a loan. But this structure would enable the county to pay back the half that is a loan for which they are issuing bonds, which they're taking out the loan for. And this proposed JED is a way for all of the parties to use the city's 1.8% income tax authority on both two things, the new jobs and the net profits of the company, in order to help pay back those bonds for those improvements, and then thereafter to be split between the townships and the city. The term of this agreement is 99 years from its date of execution, and then it has automatic 10-year renewals, so it could go on in perpetuity if we did nothing at the end of those 99 years. I'll leave that up to you. And then once Defiance County recoups that full amount of the loan amount that they borrow, once they recoup all that, then 100% of those JED income tax revenues go to be split in some proportion as the townships and the city agree. I neglected to mention, there is a 10% of those income tax, what we call the distributable revenues, will go to the city because the city finance director has been selected to administer the JED on behalf of all those government entities and the company. And so we negotiated for 10% of that to compensate the city for those services. And then Section 715.72I1 of the Ohio Revised Code requires City Council to hold a public hearing concerning this whole JED arrangement and contract for the passage of any ordinance and that approves the contract. And so that's for the public to come in, weigh in. Council can ask questions or make comments on the matter. The Defiance County Economic Development Director, Erica Wilitzer, is here. City Engineer, Belinda Sproul. Not what she's here for tonight, but she was involved in a lot of the technical discussions. And so everybody would have the opportunity to comment and discuss this matter at this hearing. And then at the next council meeting, hopefully at the next council meeting, we will have the JED contract approval ordinance for you to consider.
Mr. Mast?
I just had a couple questions real quick. Is there anything in this district aside from what would be first quality paper? Does it encompass anything else other than that manufacturer, residential, anything?
Presently, I don't believe so.
That's accurate.
About 1,200 acres, Erica.
Mm-hmm.
And the second question is, do we have any numbers yet? Do we know how long it's going to take to pay back the county? I mean, is there any estimation whatsoever?
We have some projections. We do think it could be relatively quickly if their projections of the contractors that are on site in 2027 and 2028 are on point, that we could see it being paid back relatively quickly. But again, we don't know until we actually understand what those contractor numbers actually look like. Because you can recoup the contractor numbers and then also the employees that are within that district.
Very good.
And we aren't collecting yet, Mr. Mass, obviously, because this isn't in place. But First Quality shared with us, and the contractors have shared with us some of the estimated payrolls. And as Erica said, you start with 1.8% of those payrolls, and you're there fairly quickly.
Any other questions for Erica, Linda, Sean? No questions? All right. Are there any questions from our guests that are here this evening? Well, that's the purpose of a public hearing, is just in case.
And I'll just add, Mr. O'Donnell mentioned this, but that 10% of those revenues will go back to our finance department to cover the cost. But Mrs. Sprague and all of her department have really stepped up behind this. This is not going to be an easy task for our finance department. Basically, a whole new set of books with new sets of revenues and expenses that will have to be kept separate from everything else. New computer software, and so I just thank you for that. You've been very cooperative in that regard.
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes.
Just one more quick question. Sorry, I thought of this too. Is there any specification once the county's paid back in full? Is there any specifications on expenditures after that, with what can be done with the money? Anybody?
I can speak to that. So the government, so you're essentially essentially creating a new government entity. So that government entity would vote on any proposals that would be brought to them. But after the county gets paid back, as far as like how the money is divvied up, there would be a negotiation that would take place after that between the townships and the city. We felt like it would be better if once we got through getting the county, the debt paid off, then those negotiations could take place, because then we know it's like free and clear. But then like if First Quality has another project that comes up, then they could submit a proposal to that new government entity and have them review if that would be something. And a lot of times it's only supposed to be used for infrastructure. It can be used for police, fire, equipment, those kinds of things.
In your packet, you had a funding agreement with the county and the state of Ohio. And like the mechanics, Eric's right, but the mechanics of what's supposed to happen is 1 year prior to the expiration of that funding agreement, meaning the county realizes that, hey, we're about to pay back that loan. The parties, the townships and the city get together, and then they determine how that distributable revenue gets distributed, stands the 10% that goes to the finance department.
Which fire department is that fall under? Will that be under Delaware or the city Defiance?
Fire and rescue from Delaware. Law enforcement would be the sheriff.
Mr. Corbett?
I'm just curious, what's the makeup of the board that's gonna oversee this new agency? Is it already established? Who's gonna represent it?
It's in here.
I should read it.
Well, no, you should. Well, yeah, you probably should.
Yeah.
The city, the townships, each have a seat, will have a seat. And then once the business is established, it will have, a management seat and like personnel, like a worker seat that they will also have. So any negotiations we do with the townships, you will also have the business at the table that this JED covers. Because we look at things like, there's water and sewer lines going out there, those are gonna need maintained. The roads are gonna need rebuilt and maintained. All of these things are gonna need taken care of. And so that board made up of some of the government entities, and then the business itself will decide on where to invest that money to maintain what's going on in that area.
Gonna create an audit for you, I take it,
It
probably.
will for the JED. I just wanna add one thing to what Sean and the mayor said about the 10%. After all of this gets passed and goes through, most likely I'm gonna bring to you to create a special fund for that 10% to go into. And so then when we see that revenue, it will go into that special fund, not the general fund. That way we can keep track of it and keep our eye on it, and we can decide what to earmark those funds for. But we're probably another month out from that. I'm not sure, once all this goes through, the dust settles.
Mr. Hancock?
There was discussion about software. Is the software gonna be included in that fund?
The JED lays out what expenses the JED should pay for, and that the audit are operating expenses of the JED. That is not from the city's 10%.
Okay,
There's also a percentage earmarked for long-term maintenance. I think it's like 2%.
and that would fall
14.
under that category.
It is spelled out. I know it's a lengthy document, but if you get time, just pick through it. And it is, we've had a lot of meetings and a lot of discussion, and a lot of things have gotten brought up. And like Ryan said, there's gonna be things that come up that we did not foresee, but that's why this board is in place to work through those issues as, it'll be a working piece,
Right.
And there's we just don't know until it gets up and running. Once it gets up and running with employees, it should just maintain itself, but there'll be some variables, I think, until we get to that point.
Okay.
And when we negotiated, anything that she might have to buy, we wanted that taken out of administrative
Yes,
costs.
that's a
not
different-
the
Not the
distributable
JED,
revenue, the
yeah.
10%, yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? All right, thank Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. I look forward to seeing the ordinance going next week. Before we convene this evening, I read the index minutes for the city council minutes for March 10th, 2026 and March 24th, 2026. Do we have a motion to correct or amend the index minutes as they're presented? Without such a motion, I'll approve them. We have a liaison committee meeting report or request. And do we have any comments from council? Mr. Corbett?
First, I'd like to just follow up on what Pastor Knopfinger said, what an amazing job everybody involved in the city did after the storm, our community, our first responders, our city workers, our governmental employees, everybody did a great job. And we thank you for all you did. And I'm sure there's still more work to do, so keep up the good work. And I'm also hearing from some of our drivers out there that we're getting semi-traffic on Greenler and Carnes, obviously trying to get past the detour in the proper way, so.
We're hearing that too, Mrs. Sproul. And we talked about it in length. We're gonna get that.
I
We'll
understand.
do what we can to mitigate it. It's gonna be a rough summer as far as traffic.
You just hate to see our new asphalt getting tore up by these trucks that don't belong.
Mr. Engel?
Yeah, go along with what Mr. Corbett said, also on Cleveland Avenue, from Maryville Avenue to Cleveland to 15, there I've seen semis in there too, so. And I know they got certain routes they gotta take, but I have seen them there. Just to let you know.
Mrs. Kaufman?
I just want to reiterate appreciation for all the divisions of the city that responded in the emergency over the weekend. I had a couple of residents in Third Ward comment to me that any city employee that responded was bringing their A game, that's a quote, and they were literally amazed at how everybody worked together, how quickly things were cleaned up, and how caring they were as they assisted the families who needed it that were impacted by it. Some had relatives downtown living in the worst of it. And they said everybody they knew that was encountered by a city employee, they were just treated with the utmost respect, courtesy, and they were proud to live in Defiance, Ohio.
That's always good news. That's good. Thank you. Are there any other comments from council? Okay. Mayor McCann?
Thank you, and thank you for all those comments. And certainly, we concur. Saturday afternoon was an exciting day for us. It was a great learning opportunity, and eventually, when we have time, we will gather together with all involved and study what we did well and what we didn't do quite so well, and go from there. And hopefully, an event like this doesn't occur for another 75 years. I wanted to. Back in February 2nd, it looks like, I did a presentation to the Rotary Club here in Defiance on all the different projects that we're gonna be undertaking, and I've wanted to do this with council probably for a couple months now. There just hasn't been a window of opportunity to get that done, and I asked Mrs. Sproul, our city engineer, to come tonight and do that. But before I start to go, or we start to go through this list of projects, I think Melinda wanted to steer you to our website and talk about that a little bit.
And really to make people aware that the website has been updated to provide information on all the projects. The project details, why we're doing them, the cost, grants, and then to also show the detours that people are supposed to be following.
Is that?
So, yeah, so go back to the first page, if you would, Lisa, thank you. And to encourage people to sign up for updates. This is how we will be communicating with the public for updates for the project, with social media as well. So the first page just walks you through a brief summary of all the projects that we have going on. There is, Lisa, you can scroll down just a little bit. There is keep going. Right there's a link to a story map that Hayden in our office put together. Go ahead, Lisa. And it's just a map that gives you a representation of where all of the projects are located, and as you scroll through each of the projects on the left side, it will zoom you into each individual project and give you just a little brief information on each project. So that's Ralston. We have Ralston, Ottawa. You can see all the projects that we have up at that top bar. So it's a great upgrade to what we had before with all of our projects. We intend to keep this going annually and update as needed. So we hope the public signs up for the updates, uses the website to stay informed on what we're doing. And we just wanted to make sure you guys were aware as well.
Questions on the website? Don't run away.
Or do you want me to
Nice
stay
try.
up?
So we'll pull up this PowerPoint presentation. I will say on the notification piece, I think maybe we were talking before we started the meeting that there's issues right now with Verizon. Mr. Mack is looking into that. We're not exactly sure what it is, but this morning at 6:33, I just checked the time to be sure. There was a notification put out that River Road was going to be closed for some tree removal. And not everybody received that notification. I don't know why. I did, but apparently Mr. Mack said I was in buds, and I'm not quite sure why everybody didn't receive that. These notifications are very beneficial to me and everyone if they would sign up for those. We try to put as much information out as we can that's time critical. And I think everybody should be signed up to receive those instant notifications personally. So move on to the PowerPoint. We'll run through this quickly. If you have questions, obviously you can ask. So why is it not working now? Because it's technology. You got my little thingy plugged in there?
Got your little thing plugged in.
Unplug it, plug it back in, will you please?
Yes.
There we go. So the first one we went to is probably the biggest project of the year and the one that will cause a fair amount of inconvenience is the Ralston Avenue roundabouts, which the utility relocation is well underway with that. Other work is being done. It's gonna be an exciting project, much needed project. When it's done, it's gonna be nice. 2 years ago, we met at Defiance Regional, had an open house, well attended by the folks from Wooded Acres. I think they have a clear picture of what is going to be going on and how they're going to access their subdivision here over the next few months. And project's been bid. And I'm sorry, I'm getting birthday wishes through my hearing aids. But it's been bid.
Request for legislation's been submitted.
Oh, it has, all right.
I think it'll come
Okay,
next week, possibly.
all right. So are you prepared to say who the successful bidder was?
So the apparent low bidder, yeah, the low bidder for us was Brennan Noggle. They built all of our other roundabouts. They built a lot of the roundabouts in Northwest Ohio. And their bid was almost $500,000 less than our estimate, so that's good news.
So that's a good thing. That project, in the end, should not be nearly as costly to us as what we probably thought. Any more questions on that? It's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess.
We've met with the hospital recently, even and gone over logistics for them. They're ready to handle anything that comes their way.
Do you have a start date for when actually?
I only have a tentative start date. In my initial conversations with the contractor, they're saying sometime in July.
And this is to be done by November 1st?
Yes. They're used to building these things very quickly.
They've had practice.
Yes.
And we've had practice working with them, and they've had practice working with us. So. State Route 15, Ottawa Avenue, corridor improvements. We've been working on Ottawa Avenue for 10 years now. And I can't say this is done, but it's going to be done over there, but it's going to be closer than we've ever been, obviously. So, you know, the details on that are sidewalk improvements, multi-use path improvements, drainage, street being rebuilt, curbs, gutters, water line, lighting. Did I say lighting?
There's no lighting.
No lighting?
It's just, yeah.
No lights over there at all, huh? The existing lighting
The
will be
existing
maintained.
lighting,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's a good project, and we've done our best to communicate with folks, but we are starting to get some phone calls on what's going on. And I think one of the biggest concerns that I hear, people are gonna be really happy to have the sidewalks, and I think we're gonna be happy to have the sidewalks. It's been a safety issue for us all along, but the drainage has been poor out there, and improving the drainage is gonna be a big improvement for what we're doing out there. So that project's underway, expected to be completed when, Melinda?
So they are required to have two-way traffic restored by August 19th, which coincides with the beginning of the school year in the fall. And then they have until the end of October to get the project fully completed.
The Ayersville Avenue sidewalk project, that's underway and moving along on schedule.
They have till June 1st to get that one done.
Okay. So in 2 months, that project should be done. Or near it. And that's the company from Ottoville,
Benson, yeah, they're from Putnam County.
somewhere down that way.
If the weather would straighten up.
So
Yes,
You gotta
that's
a
say
good
that,
project.
if the weather straightens up, it'll stay.
Yeah.
You know, I think this year is probably, the Southland Street sidewalk project was a wonderful project. But there was a sidewalk there, we just improved it. But what we're doing on Ottawa, what we're doing on Ayersville, what we're doing out on Ralston, we probably are going to do more in 2026 to make our community more walkable than we've done ever. So that's very heartwarming. Myrna Street Alley sanitary sewer,
It's just a small.
it's just patching in here and there. Sewer project, it's back in an alley, and it's one project that shouldn't disrupt traffic too much, but it much needed. Jefferson Avenue paving, it's been bid successfully by ODOT.
Yeah, it's
and,
been awarded,
Yep,
and we have the pre-construction meeting Thursday to go to find out what the schedule is. We don't have a schedule for the contractor yet.
okay. And that contractor is someone we don't normally deal with?
Right, it's the Shelley company.
Shelley,
They do
yeah,
a lot
that's
of
right.
work
Yep.
south
Yep.
of here.
That should go fairly quick.
Mhm.
Just a mill and repave. Wastewater treatment plant, that project is underway. We were out there last week and saw them working that on the septic receiving piece of it. That'll, when that's done, that'll be a nice addition to our city and will be appreciated by a lot of different people. I don't know, where we at on have you talked about the roof?
The
Lately?
digester?
The
The
dome on
membrane
the
replacement?
digester?
That was legislation the last.
Oh, that
time.
was,
Yeah.
I wasn't here for that. Yeah, all right. So, housing developments, I think you're well aware of all these housing developments. Whispering Pines, we're seeing stuff come up on the ground out there on West Rosewood. In fact, I know somebody that has, I believe, made a purchase of one of those properties, so that's kind of exciting. And that'll be moving along. Wildwood Drive, back behind Kroger Complex, moving along nicely as well. I haven't been out there the last couple of weeks. Are they building houses?
They haven't started
Okay.
building houses yet. We don't have any of this.
Still doing crap.
All right. So, that was a picture taken last fall. So that would be all single-family homes, and then Preston Landing, I think, maybe later this year. Peyton plans on starting the infrastructure work there. Got a few calls on that, people wondering about the access, people concerned that it was gonna be encroaching on existing subdivisions. The access will be on Ayersville Avenue, and it will not be encroaching on any of the other subdivisions. That's what that looks like. A lot going on out in Plumbers, if you haven't driven out there, in Leanne Drive, a lot of new homes up and homes are selling. So that's kind of exciting as well, and I think Larry would be very proud. Monterey Crossing, I probably could have just taken that slide out. I don't know of anything more that's happening out there. Do you, Mrs. Kaufman?
Well, the lot next to me is staked out, just
It
as of
also,
last week.
it also appears as though a goose has built a nest. so-
They've been there for 4 weeks or 5 weeks now, even right before the tornado hit, they were still in the field.
Yeah, so don't know what to expect out there. Defiance Place Apartments, we still think it's underway. They've asked for addresses and all those things. And you know, a big project like that has so many different things going in, and with everything that's going on in the country right now, I can see why there might be some delays. But in the end, that's something they've shared with us on what they're gonna look like, so they are a nice looking structure. Of course, we talk about infill housing all the time, and that's getting to be more and more popular. We do talk to builders and developers about a number of vacant lots that we have around town. I do know the property over on Schultz Street that we work to condemn is gonna be torn down by the land bank, and there's already a builder that's gonna be building a house there in its place. So that is infill housing. And we hope to do some of that same kind of thing on some of the other lots that we have. And I know it's something they talk about at the land bank as well. Legacy Living, you know, wow, huge investment out there, and I know several people that are now residents of Legacy Living and are enjoying their time there, and I think that's scheduled to be completed sometime mid to late summer. And that's a nifty little place. That's what I had, just to run through it quickly with all you guys, what's going on in and around Defiance. Questions?
Any questions for the mayor? Mrs. Crutch?
I think the only question I have, when they were talking about trucks in Ayersville Avenue, has ODOT ever decided that they could go down Harrison or 108 or 109 when they're coming in from the south, 15? Instead of coming all the way into the roundabout and having to go down Carnes or Cleveland Avenue? Have they ever thought of going farther out?
We have a detour posted. It's supposed to catch them at 6:13
It does.
to 6:37, and then
Okay,
they're
so
supposed to come and
Harrison.
stay Route 111. That's the posted detour by our contract.
Yeah,
But they're not doing it.
it's supposed to come out like through
Obviously
Oakwood or
not.
something there too.
I'm sorry?
There's some through like Oakwood and stuff there.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's all
for
posted.
66,
yeah.
okay.
Just
I
so
just
some
wondered.
don't follow.
Yeah.
We try.
Okay, I just wondered.
We've talked to B&B Molded to make sure they understand how to get their trucks and deliveries through. For the most part, I assume that their trucks are doing what they're supposed to be doing, but we have signs up showing trucks to continue on that alternate truck route to go through. I know it's taking them through downtown, unfortunately, this year, but there's signs up trying to keep them off of Oliver.
Couple things, you know, sometimes when I know we're gonna have these kinds of discussions with council, I say to myself, well, what try to anticipate what questions you might ask, and, one might say, why did this all have to happen in 2026? And 2 and 3 years ago, when you pursue funding and grants and for this sort of stuff, first of all, you don't always expect to get all of them. I mean, you don't know what you'll get awarded and what you won't get awarded. And we're disappointed when we don't, and we're happy when we do. And Melinda and Nikki and others do a wonderful job writing these grants, and because they do so wonderful, we're successful. And you get all this stuff, you just kind of have to take it. And so that's what it is. And just quickly on the trucks, I don't know whether I shared with you, 2 or 3 months ago, we met with ODOT District 1, which we're transitioning to District 2, but we met with District 1 because one of my pet peeves, fetishes, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, but is trucks in downtown, and what can we do to limit the number of trucks we have downtown? We have established truck routes, but for the most part, they don't follow them, because I'm assuming their GPS doesn't tell them to go that way. And we've talked about rerouting these state routes to take them out of our downtown. Now that thought doesn't come without a lot of financial risk on our part, in that bridges that are currently under the responsibility of ODOT would become the responsibility of City of Defiance, and bridges don't come cheap. Right now our bridges are in pretty good shape, but what about 50 years from now or 75 years from now, when those bridges need replacing, and then it's our responsibility. So I still think about it all the time. I know Melinda thinks about it all the time, and maybe we could change some of the state routes, but not all of them. We aren't not trying to think about what we can do here, and we'll just have to see. We've talked about stopping trucks and talking to them and saying, could you please follow this route? But it's different trucks and different drivers every day.
They tried that at Manville with them coming down Carver and couldn't accomplish it. I mean, seriously, they just don't get it.
We do have some that like to go under the viaduct occasionally.
They're not always successful
But
in
we've
that
been,
effort.
knock on wood, it's been really good for us for quite some time.
Okay? Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you.
Oh, and speaking of housing and infrastructure and all of that, do we have a date? We were gonna have a meeting in regards to street repairs for the calendar. Do we have a date for that?
May 12th,
May 12th?
yes.
I'll do my best to be here. But thank you.
If not, you can watch it on TV.
Thank you. Mr. Mack?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Throw a little bit of an update for council and just some stuff to make sure that you're informed on. First off, as you're all aware, we were hit by an EF1 tornado through town on Saturday. If you grew up in or around Defiance, you always heard or were told that the rivers protect us, the confluence protects us. And I, for one, still believe it. Letting one slip through every 75 years is still a good buffer to tornadoes, so I still believe in the rivers, and I encourage you to do as well. I can't speak highly enough for our city crews and our county counterparts who worked that afternoon and continue to work to clean up the aftermath of our storms. As you're aware, we have a lot of trees that were down. We have a lot of trees that are still down, but we're getting there. It's getting better one day at a time. For at least this week, the cemetery will be closed to the public. Our crews are still working to clear damage, but I wanted to point out the mayor and I stopped out this afternoon, and we owe a big thank you to our city schools and Bob Morton. They canceled athletic practices for this evening, and the superintendent and our parks director, Rob Sarrigan, got together and they bussed over some of the student athletes from Defiance High School, over 100 kids, to go through the safer parts, the parts that we have gotten most of the things removed from, and really clean up sticks and debris and things like that. So we owe a huge thank you to Defiance City Schools for making that happen and helping us get that much farther down the line on cleanup. Because of all the trees down the compost site, we'll be open all week from noon to 6 p.m. so that residents have more chance to get rid of debris. We'll also be open at regular business hours Saturday morning. We're asking residents to get as much of the tree and shrub debris as possible to the compost site since it is going to be open an extended amount of time. I know we've received calls asking, is the city going to come by and clean up these branches and things like that? We are very focused on getting the city properties cleaned up and taken care of right now, and we are really asking that residents do what they can to get some of the stuff from their yards to that compost site. That's why we've opened it up. So this leads into some other updates. Clean Up Your Parks Day is this Saturday. It is the big 30th anniversary of the event, so we would like to get as many people as possible. I know members of council have participated in the past. I encourage you to come, invite, bring family and friends, help us keep chipping away at these parks and getting them back up to the summer condition we all expect them to be. With that being said, it was asked at the last council session, I believe, but the big dumpster in the Parks Day is scheduled for April 25th. As normal, we'll have dumpsters at Bronson, Deal, Kingsbury, and Ladney's Grove Parks from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It's a chance for residents to bring in large trash items and dispose of them for free. So April 25th, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Another matter that has been in the news, I'm sure you've read in the Crescent or heard already, we did, prior to the storms hitting, have a compromised sewer line. Unfortunately, we found the break as storms were hitting last week in the evening, and we're unable to get contractors in. It's in Preston Run. It's a 20-inch main. So we were actually, myself, our water pollution control superintendent, Mike Sproul, were standing off on the edge of the ravine as the rain was rolling in, trying to call contractors to get them in. Unfortunately, we were unable to get anybody in time. Since all the rains and the storms, Preston Run did what it always does. It has flooded. So we have worked with EPA on steps necessary just to keep them updated and to mitigate as much of the overflows as possible because of this breached line. We've also been monitoring flood levels in Preston Run and have crews ready to go to fix the pipe, all the equipment, all the materials, everything we need as soon as we're able to safely get heavy equipment down into that ravine. So we are monitoring it. As soon as we are able to get equipment down there, it will be taken care of. So those are the main things I wanted to update council on. So I know it's a lot. We've had a lot going on in the last week or two.
Do we have any questions for Mr.?
Were there two sewer line breaches or just the one in Preston Run?
That's just the one in Preston Run.
Any other questions for Mr. Mack?
So I suppose to add to that, still not recommended that between the Purple Heart Bridge and Independent Dam State Park that you fish, swim, boat, kayak, all those things until we get that repaired.
Thank you.
Isn't that enough for now, Mr.
I was gonna say, thanks for all the work you've been doing almost nonstop since Saturday.
It's the
Good
city
job.
crews. The city crews have really done amazing work, as several members of council mentioned. Really can't speak highly enough of them.
Well done. Mr. O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to discuss the topic of peddlers and solicitors in our codified ordinances. As some of you may have experienced, and in fact, as I encountered on my way out the door to City Council tonight, somebody knocked on my door offering to climb up on my roof and do a free inspection. And instead, he got a lecture on Section 723.01 and our inherent home rule authority under Article 18, Section 3 of the Ohio Constitution. But don't feel too bad, because the next peddler that knocks at my door is going to get a lecture on joint economic development districts. But as I said, those regulations are contained, and those ordinances are contained in Chapter 723 of our codified ordinances, and that's for anyone who wishes to enter upon the premises of a private residence for the purpose of soliciting orders for the sale of goods or services for profit. And that's a very narrow definition that it passes constitutional scrutiny.
more on that in a minute. But the peddler or solicitor is required, before he or she goes and starts knocking on doors, to make an application using this form. You can get it online at the Defiance Police Division website. Scroll down, it's on the bottom right, or Miss Connie or Miss Chrissy can give it to you at City Hall, and you fill it out, fill out all the information about yourself and the company, and ask about felonies and misdemeanor offenses and the histories of your company. Do require fingerprints and background checks. I will say, a lot of the people, I think, that are well-meaning, you know, they use the derogatory term, storm chasers. I think people are here to help, but not everyone is. And so we want to make sure that your residents and your constituents know who they're signing on the dotted line to do repair work. And then the other thing is, since a lot of these, at least at this juncture, are contractors, this will then trigger the requirement in Chapter 1313 of our codified ordinances. As you know, all contractors have to get their permits with City Hall. And again, that's to protect the constituents and people that may not know, you know, how to determine the quality and workmanship of what should be done in the city. So those ordinances we would submit exist for a reason, and we will be looking to enforce these. One other thing that your constituents should know is if they are just, they've just had it with the peddlers and solicitors, they, under section 723.08, that resident who does not wish to entertain sales calls from peddlers or solicitors can file a notice with our police chief. And we have a list that do not go to residents and peddler and solicit list. I don't think that's what it's really called, but that's what I call it.
Do not disturb.
And they can be on that list, and then it is a misdemeanor if you willfully disregard and go knock on their door. I do want to say this is, I mean, again, this is for people that want to solicit the sale of goods or services for profit. It doesn't apply to, you know, other First Amendment protected speech. Like, I know certain political candidates like to do this. That's totally permitted. You don't have to answer the door. You have to talk to them. Or maybe you want to talk about Article 18, Section 3 home rule with the person, but you don't have to. Or sometimes, like, church groups will go and, you know, share their message. That's also permitted and not regulated by this chapter. So yeah, that's a synopsis of what our ordinances say.
Girl Scouts can still sell cookies. Baseball players can still sell raffle tickets.
That we would invoke like selective prosecution on those kind of things.
The number of questions I ask you that I wished after I asked.
Yeah.
Especially on television.
Yeah. So just to clarify, if their peddlers or solicitors come to a citizen's home and knocks on them uninvited, is there any documentation they should be able to produce to say, no, I am legit?
They do have solicitors' licenses, and I know this because sometimes some have come and shown me that every summer people come over from like Latvia or something, and they sell those books, and they always have them because their company always tells them, you go do this, and they do. So those licenses are out there.
Okay, so you can, a citizen could say, could I see your permit or whatever, and legit people who have a right to come up and knock on your door, we will be able to produce this permit and not a string of excuses.
Right, and I should add that the mayor has even been known to go out after the storm and enforce this ordinance. I've heard about it. I wasn't in the backseat of the car.
I just, sadly, before this is all done, we're gonna hear a story about somebody that was taken advantage of. And we wanna keep that to a bare minimum.
Any questions for Mr. O'Donnell? Thank you very much.
And then one more thing, Mr. President, the Andrew L. Tuttle Memorial Museum has their quarterly Town and Gown Lecture, and this one's by our city historian, Richard Rosevink, and the topic is on the Brunersburg tornado from Palm Sunday, which was March 28th, 1920. That was the date of this tornado. So that's Thursday, April 9th at 7 p.m., Strady Center, free, open to the public. So if you want to hear about what it's like to live through a tornado in Defiance County, you can come to this lecture.
What would that be like? Well, thank you.
That's all I have.
Ms. Sprague?
Wow, okay. Well, in addition to the mayor's birthday, another important date to remember is April 15th. That's the last day to file your income tax, so just to remind you of that. And then to follow up on the bond for the Ottawa Avenue fire truck refinance and dump truck purchase, we secured a rate of 3.74%. Most likely go the bonds for 10 years, which I will use for Ottawa Avenue. The fire truck will be 9 and the dump truck will be 5. But the fire truck rate was right around 6 1/4, so save a little bit of money there. But that's all I have.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
We do have a couple ordinances for consideration this evening. Would you read the caption for the first, please?
First reading by caption only, an ordinance conveying a perpetual easement on municipal property in Noble Township to the Brunersburg Water District and declaring an emergency.
Excellent. Mr. O'Donnell?
Mr. President, the city owns property in Noble Township where it houses a pump station and actually where it plans to, we plan to construct a newer and better pump station at some point in the near future. And we do this primarily for our water customers to the north, the most significant, largest of which is the Brunersburg Water District. In fact, I think they're like third in terms of the water customers that we have, maybe second. And you may recall that the city and this district entered into a new agreement for the provision of potable water in early January of 2025. And in that agreement, the district was going to make certain improvements and gain, and more importantly, gain some of the city's prior customers in that area, in that territory, and because it was deemed that they could better serve them. But in so doing, the district is requesting a perpetual easement so that the district can construct a new meter structure to aid with their billing and administration. And the conveyance of this perpetual easement would require council approval under section 212 of our charter. And the board members and staff at Brunersburg, I want to say, have been very good to work with, and we would submit that this arrangement is in the city's interest. It helps one of our larger customers. Here's the parcel, and this is this backwards P is the proposed easement area, and this is where the proposed meter structure would go, and this is North 66, and then again the city would just retain ownership of retain fee ownership of the entire parcel.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Mr. O'Donnell in regards to this? Mr. Waxler?
No further question, motion suspending call.
If we have no questions, we have a motion to suspend and call. Second, Mr. Mast?
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Waxler?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mrs. Stretch?
Yes.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Kaufman?
Yes.
And Mr. Corbett?
Yes. Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Corbett. Second, Mr. Engel.
Mr. Waxler?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Ms. Kaufman?
Yes.
And Mr. Engel?
Yes.
All right. With that, this ordinance is adopted.
First reading by caption only, an ordinance authorizing a contract for the 2026 street resurfacing program and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mack?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I know council requested that we meet to discuss paving for 27, as we established earlier. We'd like to have that presentation meeting on the 12th to discuss strategies for paving as a whole, looking into the future. But this ordinance is just the normal yearly street paving contract. We'd like to award to Henry Bergman, Inc. in the amount of $284,198.95. They believe should have had a map on the back of the ordinance as it was sent to them. If you have any questions about the roads being done, our city engineer, Melinda Sprout, is here to answer those questions.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Mack or Ms. Sprout?
No further questions, motion to suspend and call.
Motion to suspend and call?
Mr. President, just
Here
one
we go.
Mr. Mask.
question. I know we had budgeted further money for a secondary paving project, maybe paperwork or engineering.
So of the 400,000 that was approved in the budget, yes, we're taking almost 50,000 to, I think this is what you're getting at. We approved, or we have a contract with a consultant to do preliminary design for Sherwood Drive because that street has needed to be reconstructed for quite some time. So we're using some of that 400,000 for that. DJ uses some of the 400,000 for various repairs throughout the city, things that come up. And then we have the balance using these funds.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to suspend and call. Second, Mr. Waxler?
Ms. Kaufman?
Yes.
Mr. Waxler?
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
And Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Motion adopted.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Engel?
Second.
Second, Mr. Hancock?
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Waxler?
Yes.
And Ms. Kaufman?
Yes.
Then with that, this second ordinance is also adopted.
First reading by caption only, an ordinance authorizing the city administrator to enter in the 2026 Maumee Valley South Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program Consortium Partnership Agreement with the Defiance County Board of Commissioners and the Paulding County Board of Commissioners and declare an emergency.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Thank you, Mr. President. The city participates in the Community Housing Impact and Preservation, or CHIP, program with Defiance and Paulding counties. And it's been determined that submitting a combined application with these entities makes all of us more likely to obtain this competitive federal funding. And we can use the funds received for structural repairs, heating, electrical, plumbing, lead paint, hazard removal, and water and sewer lateral repairs. I should say that's for homeowners can use it for that purpose. The local governments can distribute these to low and moderate income homeowners and who wish to maintain their homes. And it also helps some of the landlords address the safety issues in their properties. And the Ohio Department of Development requires legislative authority, that's you, of the municipality, to pass an ordinance consenting into the entry of this partnership agreement. And we are requesting an emergency so that we can apply for, or I should say Maumee Valley Planning Organization can apply for the funding sooner rather than later.
Mrs. Crutch?
Is this something that we apply for regularly?
It's periodic. We last did it in 2024, and I think it was about every year, every 2 years prior to that.
And this is something through NOCAC?
Maumee Valley Planning Organization.
Ms. Kaufman?
As I understand it, the ordinance, the approved ordinance has to be part of their June application, and because we are partnering with Paulding County, I believe that brings another $100,000 into Defiance County to disperse. So it benefits everybody to, that Defiance is the lead district, or lead entity is particularly pleasing, but the fact that we're partnering with another county brings additional monies into this project for the benefit of the homeowners.
Yeah, and there's an agreement proposed agreement attached to this ordinance, and it lays out, you know, what it's projected, these are just projections, but what each entity may receive, and the two counties could receive up to $400,000, and the city of Defiance could receive $350,000.
Mr. Mast?
No further questions. Motion's been called.
We have a motion to suspend and call. Mr. Mast?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Crutch.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Kaufman?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
And Mrs. Crutch?
Yes, motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt, Mrs. Crutch. Second, Mr. Hancock.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Ms. Kaufman?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
And Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
All right. Then with that, this final ordinance is adopted. And I'm gonna take my time here. Oh, there we go. And before we adjourn for the evening, are there any citizens that have any concerns or questions that they would like to ask? Would you come up to the microphone and just state your name?
Sandy Buringer. There was no siren Saturday. Do we know why that didn't go off?
Mine will.
So the reason that the tornado sirens are activated countywide are by the 911 dispatch center. The 911 dispatcher center receives a message from the National Weather Service. Ours runs out over by Fort Wayne. They did not receive a message that there was an active tornado. I talked to Christy Booth, the director of the 911. She actually went back through and checked. We had received no active message of an active tornado. In fact, if you look at what the National Weather Center did, they ended up having to come in and investigate, and not till a day later did they determine that it was actually a tornado. So that's the reason that no tornado sirens came out. So all of that is controlled through the 911 center. That the 911 center does not set off those alarms unless they get a message from National Weather Service indicating that they need to. So.
Okay, and where is is there a siren on the north side anywhere?
I believe so. I don't know all the locations of them. I apologize.
Is there any possibility of getting
I think-
grant money for more sirens? Because what I'm hearing, I live on the north side, so I think what I'm hearing is wherever, the police department, that one.
Okay.
And if the TV's on, you're not gonna hear it at all.
There's one in Birdburg. I will say this, and this has been explained to me multiple times when we hear questions and concerns like you're having. The tornado sirens actually are designed to warn people that are outside. They aren't designed, Ms. Derringer, to caution you when you're inside watching television. That's, hopefully, something comes across television. Again, I didn't get any alerts on Saturday for that storm, but the one we had previous to that, I was getting stuff on my television, I was getting stuff on my phone, my wife's phone. I think Alexa was even spewing out something while all that was going on. So I had plenty of warning a few weeks, whenever that one prior to that. But there has to be a siren on the north side, and I will check on that location. I'm pretty sure there's one in Brunersburg at the
Township
fire
Halls.
station, the township hall there. But, you're right, I mean, there is one right down across from the police department. I'll check with it. I do wanna stress that those sirens are, if you're outside working in your yard, you may not have access to television, radio, maybe you don't have your phone in your pocket, then you know something's up and to seek shelter. Okay?
Get back with me. Okay.
Thank you.
Almost been a week off. I knew I heard it sometime.
Didn't it the other night?
Yeah, I did that one time.
Do we have any other comments or questions from any citizens? All right, without any, do we have a motion to adjourn for this evening? So moved, Mr. Hancock. Second, Mr. Mass. All those in favor of adjourning for this evening, say aye. All those opposed? All right, we are adjourned.